Imagine bringing new life home, only to slowly realize the man you just had those babies with might have murdered his previous family. For Stephanie Kilgore, that nightmare creeps in slowly. She is already operating on the ragged edge of human endurance. She has infant twin girls suffering from severe colic, and she hasn't had a full night's sleep in months. Still, amidst the crying and the bone-deep fatigue, she feels secure. They live in a beautiful, quiet suburb in upstate New York, and she completely trusts her husband, Patrick, to weather this storm with her. By the 3-month mark, exhaustion is no longer a physical sensation. It's a psychological filter. Stephanie is living in a state where her mind is primed to interpret every shadow and silence as a precursor to a threat, even if she hasn't found one yet. That threat begins quietly. A strange, highly attractive blonde woman starts appearing in their neighborhood, lingering outside the house and asking the neighbors pointed questions about Stephanie's family. Then the perimeter is breached. Stephanie's purse and ID are stolen directly from inside her home. The stalker has been inside. When Patrick returns from work, he looks utterly defeated. He sits Stephanie down and confesses the truth. The woman's name is Erica, and she is actively extorting him. Erica has given Patrick an ultimatum. He must pay her a massive sum of money, or she will go straight to the police with a dark, hidden secret from his past in Colorado. The missing purse proves the house is no longer a sanctuary, but the intrusion into her space is nothing compared to the intrusion into her marriage, as Patrick begins to reveal why Erica chose them as a target. Patrick tells Stephanie his version of events. Nearly a decade ago, his first wife, Lindsay, died in what authorities ruled a tragic accident. She was caught in a massive snowstorm while sitting in her parked car. The official cause of death was carbon monoxide poisoning. The heavy, blowing snow had packed tightly against the rear of the vehicle, completely blocking the exhaust tailpipe while the engine was still running. But Erica has a completely different story. She claims she and Patrick were having an intense affair at the time, and that Patrick deliberately packed that snow into the tailpipe to kill his pregnant wife so he could escape the marriage. This timeline maps out the conflicting claims. On one side, we have Patrick insisting he was happily married, and on the other, Erica's timeline actively dismantling his claims of fidelity, proving they were together when his wife died. And then the timeline reveals the most damning detail of all. Immediately following Lindsay's death, Patrick walked away with a $200,000 life insurance payout. Erica's story provides a direct financial motive. Stephanie is trapped in a psychological vice. She has to look at the father of her children and decide, is he the victim of a highly manipulative psychopath, or is he a calculating, cold-blooded murderer? Patrick decides to call Erica's bluff. He refuses to pay a single cent, forcing her to make good on her threat and take her story to the authorities. The fallout is catastrophic. Based on Erica's new testimony, investigators in Colorado reopen the cold case. Within days, Patrick is arrested and shockingly arraigned for first-degree murder. Back at home, Stephanie's mental state rapidly deteriorates. She is entirely alone with screaming infants, pacing the floors, her grip on reality melting away under the weight of exhaustion and mounting fear. As Patrick faces a murder charge for his first wife's payout, Stephanie looks at her own desk. She sees a new $1 million life insurance policy, with Patrick's name listed as the sole beneficiary. Between the Colorado cold case and the $1 million policy on her own life, the exhaustion finally gives way to a single cold certainty. Her husband's survival has always been tied to a death benefit. Obsessively scrolling the news, Stephanie fixates on a horrific local story about a father who stabbed his wife and smothered his 2 children. It plants a terrible seed in her mind. Nobody ever sees these family annihilators coming. And the danger isn't abstract. Just feet away from where she sleeps, Patrick keeps a loaded gun inside a metal safe. Late one night, the front door opens. Patrick returns home from court, exhausted but relieved. He announces that the prosecution's case has collapsed and all murder charges have been dropped. He looks at Stephanie, thinking the nightmare is finally over and they are safe. He is completely unaware that her paranoia has pushed her past the point of no return. She waits for him to finish celebrating before calmly telling him she wants a divorce. In the silence of the living room, that single sentence ends their reconciliation and ignites a confrontation they will not both survive. Moments later, police officers swarm the suburban home. Flashing red and blue lights illuminate the kitchen as a heavy, zipped body bag is wheeled out the front door. To find out exactly who is inside that body bag and whether Patrick is a victim or a killer, you have to read The End of Her by Shari Lapena. It leaves you with one chilling question. If you were trapped in an isolated house, deeply sleep-deprived, and suspected your partner had $1 million motive and a dead ex, would you wait for the police or would you take matters into your own hands?